I'm the best ever. I'm the most brutal and vicious and most ruthless champion there's ever been. No one can stop me. I'm the best ever.
You are watching a master at work.
How y'all doing? We are here today with Mrs. Robinson, Monteria Robinson. Nice to meet you. Talk about this one. Okay, his name was Jamarion Robinson. Once again, my name is Monteria Robinson. My son was killed August 5th, 2016. A little bit about my son. He was actually on August 5th of 2016. He was actually visiting his girlfriend in Eastport, Georgia. Wow. And approximately about 1:30 p.m., her door was battle ram opened by a group of rogue police officers. And with that being said, they immediately opened fire on my son. My son was shot over 50 times. My son had a total of 76 bullet wounds to his body. Wow. And with that being said, just a little details about that day. He was, like I stated, you know, when they battle rammed the door open, they immediately opened fire on my son. They shot my son, like I stated, over 50 times. He was shot 6 times in the palm of his right hand, 5 times the palm of his left hand. He was shot all down his body, like his arms, his torso, his groin, his thighs, his shins, his feet. And after shooting him that many times, somebody stood over him and shot down 3 more times into his body. And you can see that from this photograph right here. He was shot additional 3 more times. Then they handcuffed him and drug him down a flight of stairs, where his body was dropped inside his girlfriend's apartment, living room apartment on the floor. He laid there for over 8 hours with no medical aid rendered, no ambulance was called. After shooting my son over 50 times, my mother, my brothers, my uncles, they all came to the crime scene. And of course, my mother was like, why would you all do something like this? Why would you know, she was just going ham. You know, she's a black mother. Absolutely. And she's a black grandmother. You know, my son was a student athlete at the time of his death. Wow. He was currently attending Tuskegee University. Oh, he was a biology major. He was in his final semester. Oh, and so when my mom started going off asking them why would they do something of this magnitude, they stated, oh, we were looking for him from a week ago. He pointed a gun at a police officer and took off running. And so they showed my mom a photo. And my mom said, that's not my grandson. So and my 2 brothers was like, no, that's not my nephew. And my brother said, my older brother said, my nephew looks like me. Oh, you know, which we all look alike. You know, in my family, we all look alike. And so my brother flipped out his phone, showed them a photo of my son. Mm-hmm. And she asked the GBI lady asked my brother if he could airdrop that photo to her. And so my brother airdropped. They took that photo, dropped it on the news that night, and said Eastport man had a shootout with police today. Wow. And me, as his mother, I know my son. Okay, now my son, you know, he has a motorcycle, he has a vehicle. He always used to get speeding tickets. So if they come to me and say, hey, Ms. Robinson, your son just got pulled over for speeding tickets, I used to call him the speeding ticket king. You know what I mean? Because he always got speeding tickets. Yeah. But when they said, oh, he had a shootout with police, I was like, no, come with a better narrative than that. Because number 1, I'm not ignorant, and number 2, my son is not a hood rat. Right. He's not a gangbanger. Mm-hmm. He's not a thug. And my son had no felonies. You know, they shot him more than, you know, he had no history of any crimes. So they shot my son, I always say, more than Osama bin Laden. Mm-hmm. You know, they only shot Osama bin Laden one time. And I always use a scenario, you know, when you look at movies on TV and you see people hunting, how many times do they shoot the animal? You know, right? Not that one time. Why is that? To keep from tearing the flesh of the animal. Mm-hmm. My son is a little person. He looked like me. He was only 5'6", 150 pounds. Like he was a little man. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, that's kind of like the gist of the story. You know, they dropped the false narrative, but I'm gonna take it a little further. After, you know, they dropped the false narrative, you know, me as his mother, I know my son, you know, we know our children. Yeah. So if it wasn't for me hiring my own investigator, he was the one who uncovered the slugs from the floor here. You know, he also discovered the video. Someone actually captured the outside footage of the video, because other than that, my investigator stated he would have never known what happened. And he said once he got the video, he said it's like my son's voice came on to him. Wow. It said my son just kind of leading him, like, I die upstairs in the foyer. Go up the stairs, cut this carpet out. He said he proceeded to cut the carpet out, and there go the slugs that were enlarged in the floor. So if I wouldn't have hired like my own investigator, my own forensic person, my own ballistic person, I would never have known what happened to my son. But they would have just went with their own false narrative. And just to kind of bring you current as to where I am, because remember I told you this happened August the 5th, 2016. I've been, the last several years, I've been out here fighting to get justice for my son.
Was there any justice for this?
No. I've been doing a lot of radio. I've been doing a lot of podcasts. I kind of travel from time to time, just to share my son's story, to bring awareness to the community about what happened to him. But they tried to keep this quiet.
Absolutely.
They tried to keep it quiet. But I finally, the Fulton County DA, Paul Howard, December of 2018, he finally filed a federal lawsuit against the Department of Justice. Because remember, to take you back, my son was killed by U.S. Marshals Task Force. And come to find out, with all the evidence, they didn't even have the right to be there that day. The person they were looking for was a state crime. It was not a felony. It was not a federal crime.
Right.
And so, with that being said, the DA has been trying for the last 2.5 years to make these officers come in, state, give their statements as opposed to what happened. So they've been refusing to. So the Fulton County DA had to actually file a federal lawsuit against the Department of Justice. And so they recently just came to an agreement. The Fulton County DA gave them until March the 24th of 2019 to comply with his request. And they complied. And so we're looking now at July this year, 2019, because Paul Howard did subpoena those officers to come before a grand jury. Which is good, because so that shows that my case is moving forward.
Absolutely.
So he subpoenaed those officers actually in March to come before a grand jury. In February. And we were supposed to go before the grand jury in like May. And they temporarily postponed it. The DOJ finally got back with Paul Howard, and they came to an agreement to, like I said, to give them more time to comply with his request. They've complied, and so everything has been pushed out to July of 2019. And some of the charges that they, are being charged with is felony murder, burglary, oath of an officer, and so now we're looking forward to this coming July, to go before the grand jury. And I want these officers indicted.
Absolutely, as they should be.
Yes, I want these officers indicted, for my son's murder. He was executed.
So how do you feel about the police brutality and how a lot of police officers aren't taking, they're not being charged for the crime that they committed?
Yeah. Well, I'm going to say it's not, I don't like to refer to it as police brutality. I always say police terrorism. Let's call it what it is. Let's call it what it is.
Exactly what it is.
And,
like an attack on black men.
We as a community, it's time that we take our community back.
Absolutely.
It's time that we stand up and say enough is enough. And I'm looking, coming soon to even be doing a national movement. I got some partners in place that's trying to, just kick off a national movement, because, we are tired. I don't want there to be another Jamarion Robinson, and I have to be my son's voice because he's not here to tell his story. And I always say too, I feel as though my son was a martyr, because him and I was talking about Mike Brown. We was talking about Philando Castile, and he started saying to me, "But Mom, some of us gonna have to die, because for this cause to make this change." And he was like, "I'm not afraid to die." And I was like, "You're not?" And he was like, "No, I'm not." But it's like, he was telling me other things, like to kind of, like to show me or instill in me, like, I'm going to be all right. Like, this is, and he even told me, like, what was going to happen to him. But I just thought he was just having a dream or just talking out loud or what have you. And just a little bit about him. I told you he was a student athlete at the time of his death. He was 26 years old. He was the oldest of 8 grandchildren. So he was like all our babies. Like me and I have a lot of sisters and brothers. He was like our first baby in the family. So, when we lost him, it's like our hearts were broken.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, how did you feel in that moment? home and getting that call?
It was like, at first I was like, you got the wrong number.
Exactly.
Yeah, because she asked to speak to somebody else. And she was like, may I speak to Angela? I was like, you have the wrong number. Click bye. Then she called back and was like, is this the mother of Jamarion Robinson? I said, yes, it is. And then she started to tell me, your son was just killed by police. And I was like, no, not my son.
Right.
Like, not my son. Because I was like, my son know his rights as a person, so why would he get killed by police? He's a student athlete. But like I say, like, not only with my story, but all the stories, they already dropped this false narrative. And even when they showed it on the news with my son, you just say, oh, that was just another shootout with police, because that's how they want us to see it, or the community to see it. They want you to say, oh, that's just another black kid on TV having a shootout with police. But now, when you see those stories, know that there's more behind it.
Absolutely.
There's, when I see it, and then they start showing certain things, I say, no, they shot and killed him.
Absolutely.
Like, we as a community, as African Americans, as black people, we know that these are false narratives. And, we don't go with them now. So white media, stop giving us these false narratives. We don't believe it.
Exactly.
Yeah, so.
Before we go, it's Free Game Radio Podcast, and what we like to do whenever we interview our guests, we like to we want them to give out a message, and we like to call that message a free game message. So it's all about positivity or something that can help the listeners or the community. So what is your free game message?
I would say my message is to especially like our young males, when you're faced with the police, I always tell them to comply, because if your son or your daughter, if someone puts someone puts a gun in their face, all they can do is comply. And I taught my son, he was obedient. And the thing is, when they're confronted by the police, I will always ask them to comply and pray for your children. We have to, pray over our children. I also ask people that's listening to the sound of my voice, please share my story. Is justice for Jamarion, justice for Jam. Hashtag 76 bullets, hashtag Jamarion Robinson. I'm on Instagram and Twitter, Justice for Jam, Justice for Jamarion Robinson on Facebook. So I'm in all, all social media outlets, and it's time that we, I always tell people, get out and vote. It's time that we start holding our politicians accountable, because we're the ones that elect them and put them in these offices. So if they're not following the right protocols or the right policies, it's time that we get them out of office, because we want our leaders, the DAs of these counties, to start holding these officers accountable, because we're tired of them, getting away with murder.
Absolutely.
And walking away like nothing happened. Like, they can go home and hug and kiss their wives at night, when I can't go home and kiss and hug my son any longer. So, that's my message, is, stay positive, stay prayed up, and love on your children and your family every day.
Awesome.
Yeah, definitely thank you.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
no.
what I say thank you. And today is Mother's Day, so I want to say Happy Mother's Day.
I got a little emotional, but I'm missing my baby, as any mother would on this special day.
Absolutely. Wow. So
Thank you so
Continue
much
to
for
stay
having me.
strong.
I will.
Stay strong.
Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
listening to my story. You can have.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And say your son's name again so everyone can hear it.
Please, it's Jamarion Robinson, and it's Jamarion. That's Jamarion, Jamarion, and it's Robinson, Robinson. This lasted for 3.5. They kept pausing in between the yelling, but that was to make the people on the outside
Believe
think
that
it was a shootout. But come to find out, with all the evidence, everything,
no gun.
and then even they found a gun on the scene. How about the gun didn't even work? But they said my son started the shootout, but the gun was inoperable. It did not work.
Yeah.
So nothing was ever fired from it. All the bullets were going up the wall. They started at like 1, 2, 3. It goes into the 20s, goes into the 30s, goes into the 40s, 50. Like, some of them go like through the apartment over into the other side.
Wow.
And also, do you feel like there's an attack on black men?
Oh, definitely. There's a hunt. I'm not gonna say it's an attack. It's a hunt for all black men, and it's very sad, but unfortunately, that's where we are. And I always say, in the next maybe 2 to 3 years, everybody would know somebody that has been a victim of police terrorism.
Yeah,
you know, because it's getting closer and closer to home. And a lot of people think too, oh, this happened to those people that live down south. This happened to the poor people. Where my son, he doesn't come from a poor family. You know, we college educated, middle class. But since I lost my son, I don't work anymore. And really, I be in the media so much I can't get a job. But I feel like my job now is Jamarion Robinson.
Absolutely.
You know, that's my full-time job. Because, you know, and people forget about us too. Like, people be like, oh, she lost her son, I'm sorry. But you know, you see like people that go on social media say, oh, I was bullied. And they get millions of dollars in their social media, in their GoFundMe and stuff. Like, I have a GoFundMe out there, you know, and it doesn't work for us or for the mothers.
You can share
oh,
that.
I cannot share my GoFundMe. And it's actually on the bottom of this. My GoFundMe is GoFundMe.com/Justice for Jamarion. Again, that's GoFundMe.com/Justice for Jamarion. That's JUSTICEFORJAMARION. So I always ask people to please donate, please help assist, because you know, it's hard, you know, with no funding, no financial backing, to fight this fight by yourself. And it's not an I thing, it's a we thing. You know, and I always say that I'm not just fighting for, you know, my son, I'm fighting for the ones that I don't want to be here. You know, I always say, you know, we're a part of this, you know, unwanted sorority or fraternity that we did not ask to, you know, be here. But it chose, I feel like it chose me for a reason. For a reason. And, you know, and my goal is to, you know, prevent other people from being here, or to, you know, kind of, you know, share my story and kind of inform people this is what you want to do, you know, because a lot of mothers that I've met along the way, they say, they've come to me and say, I didn't know what to do when this happened to my son. You know, but now, you know, I can follow you and do this or do that, but I didn't know what to do. And a lot of people don't know what to do. So, you know, just want to, like, throw in my little 2 cents, you know, for today. And thank you guys so much for taking the time out.
We really appreciate you.
Oh, you're not
We're here. We're talking to Miss Natasha.
Hi. And my son, the reason why I'm here today is because my son was killed in senseless gun violence. He was home visiting from college and was called out of the house to come to a pool party. Once he arrived at that pool party, he was gunned down randomly by another shooter. There were 5 kids killed that night, but my son was the only shot that night. But my son was the only one that didn't make it back home. He took 1 shot to the heart. It was in Fayette County, Georgia. There was no reason that the police only gave the guy 2 years in prison. There was no other replication done to him. He was already on probation in another county, in Cobb County. So they're letting repeat offenders back out. As a mother, I had to remember vengeance is not mine, God said. So when I heard that, they tricked me and told me they wasn't having his case that day. They had the case that afternoon and shut it. They're not releasing me any other information. So my message is, I have a foundation called Restoration of Parents. So what I do is I educate teens on how to be aware of if you're in a dangerous situation, it's okay to walk away. It takes a coward to stay. If you walk away, you'll live another day and you'll be home with your mother, but except for Wali was loyal to his friends and he didn't walk away. But I also want people to know you can reach me at restorationforparents.com. We help with funeral burial services. I'm in life insurance. We help get mothers connected. When you use my name, you get a discount on getting life insurance. That's the biggest thing and the biggest notation that I want to put out there to these mothers. Please get life insurance on those kids, and kids, please listen to your parents.
I'm the best ever. I'm the most brutal and vicious and most ruthless champion there's ever been. No one can stop me. I'm the best ever.
You are watching a master at work.